Hi, good evening to you. Yeah, Bridgeport's Mayor Joe Ganem calling on members of the press today to come to this cafe so he can take accountability and call on the state to do more when it comes to oversight of the new primary. But his opponent, who you just heard from there, John Gomes, says this is all part of Ganem's plan to get the courts back on his side.
I hear you loud and clear. Mistakes were made, and as your mayor, I need to address them.
Mayor Joe Ganem continuing what he calls his listening tour across Connecticut's largest city, where voters are feeling unheard.
As for the September primary, I own the fact that the court found people connected with my campaign engaged in serious voting irregularities.
Those irregularities include dropping an excessive number of items into a ballot box outside the government center. This video, the subject of a court case where a judge ultimately overturned the results of the election. Ganem saying little to nothing during that trial. Now he's sending this letter to the Secretary of the State's office, asking for more oversight in the new primary election in January.
She's given us a monitor in this past general election, and we appreciate that. But we need much more.
Ganem also calling on his opponent, John Gomes, to take accountability for what he says is a complaint made to the state about supporters of his campaign also taking part in suspicious election activity.
Accusation they have been made, why they did not call my supporters to the stand like we called theirs and put this case in front of the people.
John Gomes says the people of Bridgeport have spoken, supporting him at the polls with in-person votes, while the absentee ballots favored Ganem.
What he needs to do is to apologize to the residents of Bridgeport. He needs to ask the town committee to ask for the vice chair who committed this crime to step down. He himself should not be in that office as of today.
Now, to date, the state has not been able to find a full-time election monitor to oversee things here in Bridgeport. Now, a spokesperson for the Office of the Secretary has said that the Office of the Secretary of the State is to administer elections, not supervise campaign staff or candidates. It is both impractical and financially unfeasible. And the taxpayers of Connecticut have already spent too much for election oversight in one municipality. Now, the spokesperson went on to say that if Ganem wants to, he should be hiring someone to educate and inform his staff members about the law so that they can follow the law. Now, Ganem tells us that he has had a conversation of, quote, do's and don'ts with his staff members when it comes to elections and their involvement in them. We're live here in Bridgeport tonight. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.